Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Jacqueline. I vlog my life. I showed myself traveling across the country to California, found out that wasn't the move for me. Now I moved to Austin, and a lot of you guys loved my Austin apartment hunting video. It's been officially 1 year since I moved to Austin, so I felt it was appropriate to give you guys a little 1 year update and let you know how it's going and if I feel like I made the right decision. So I wrote out a list of all the pros and cons of living in Austin, Texas. I'm gonna go over them with you all, and you guys can decide for yourself if it's the right move for you. So it's officially been 1 year since I packed up my life and impulsively moved to Austin, Texas. Now, if you guys know me, you know I'm not somebody who typically cares about doing things alone. Which is like weird because I have really bad anxiety. I wouldn't even like ask for ketchup at a restaurant, but packing up and moving across the country, that I will do. I just never really like staying in one place. I do eventually want to find my home, whether that's here in Texas or wherever to actually settle down. But right now I actually enjoy just living in different cities much more than visiting different cities, because when you live there, you actually get a real feel of like what it's like, not when you're just doing touristy things, when you're just going about your day, interacting with the locals. And I will say everyone in Texas has been so friendly. So that will bring me to my first point. The first pro of living in Texas is that everyone is so nice. So if you grew up in Jersey like I did, or somewhere where people aren't very nice when you're standing in line at the 7-Eleven, people are not going to talk to you, but here they will ask you how your day is going, and they'll ask you why you moved here. And if you're moving here from California, tell them you're from South Dakota. So along with the people being much nicer, there are a lot of different communities here for whatever it is that you're into. And the thing that I lacked in LA was a sense of community. The only community I really had was like the party scene that I was involved in, and I didn't have much else to relate to anyone about. I probably could have found different communities if I tried a little bit harder, but everything was so expensive and I was dying just to try to survive, so I didn't have that extra time or energy to put into those things, which is another reason I really enjoyed Texas, because I have found that there's a lot less distractions here. While there is a really fun party scene, which could be a pro for some of you if you like partying and you're not an addict like me. If that's something that you're looking for, then Texas is really fun. I think the nightlife scene in Texas is significantly more fun than the nightlife scene in LA. At least people in Texas don't care. They're here to get down, they're here to have fun, and they don't walk around like they have a stick up their butts. But I really do feel like I found my people, and I've also just stepped into the truest version of myself, and I've been able to attract the people that are meant to be in my life. I've definitely grown a lot as a person, and I think it is a really good city to be if you're just like trying to find yourself without all the extra baggage that LA had come with. I also feel much safer here, which was a huge reason of why I wanted to move here. I wanted a safe, nice apartment to live in. I unfortunately did not get here at the best time, so I still could have found a cheaper place than I'm at right now, but I do love my apartment, so I feel very safe. Never had an issue here. There's also a ton of fun things to do here, whether you're into the party scene or you're sober like me and want fun things to do in nature that are wholesome, or if you want to, get down and dirty, 36 is the place for you. There's also University of Texas, Texas State University, all the colleges are here. So there's a lot of young people. There's also a lot of nature. You would expect Texas to be completely flat, and while it's not like California is with all the mountains and stuff, there is the hill country, so there's a lot of nature that you can explore here. Now, I'm not much of a hiker, but if you love hiking, then there's a lot of places to go hiking here too. There's also Barton Springs, which I actually haven't been there. It's like this giant outdoor swimming pool. I'm not one for bodies of water that everyone's just, sharing the same fluids, and I'm not big on that, but I'm sure they keep it clean, okay? There's also a really strong job market, no matter what field you're in, but especially if you're in tech. I am clearly not in tech, but I work in the service industry, and there's a lot of restaurants downtown or in the Domain that you can make some really good money at. There's also a lot of networking that can be done here, just like in LA. I would say that's pretty similar. You can meet anyone in really any industry. There's also a better work-life balance as well. You could leave the office and then go right over to Barton Springs when you're done work. Also, the weather, something that could be a pro or also a con, but the weather is very beautiful here. Coming from Jersey where it gets really cold, I just want to be somewhere warm. I don't ever want to have to deal with the cold, which sometimes during the winter months it can get pretty cold, but it'll be like 90 degrees one day and then 60 the next. So it balances out, right? And I like that it's not super humid. It can be humid some days, but then a lot of the times it's just more dry. I don't do humidity. This hair, you think this hair does humidity? If I didn't live in Texas, I would live in Florida, but I cannot do the Florida humidity. The only thing is that it does get really hot here, but I mean, it's 2023, so our cars are air conditioned, our apartments are air conditioned. Just maybe don't decide that you want to go for a mile run when it's 100 degrees out, because you might faint. But also, if that's your calling, then go for it. For me, I personally just avoid the heat in the summer. There's also some really good food here, and there's also no state income tax, so that's really good, especially if you're a business owner. There's also a lot of different neighborhoods that you can live in, or even suburbs that are outside of the city. There's really a place for everyone, and I also think it could be a really good place to one day raise a family. I drive out of the city often just because I grew up in the suburbs, so it kind of feels like home to just get out and be somewhere quiet. And I'll drive around and look at all the really nice houses and just imagine that one day maybe I'll have one of those houses and a husband and some kids, maybe even like a horse. My mom always told me to dream big, okay? No, she didn't, but would have been nice if she did. The quality of life is just so much better here. It's also a great place to be if you are into healthy living, which I know that you can really do that anywhere, but for me, I think it helps being around a community and like-minded people, and I have found that there are a lot of people in Austin who are sober and healthy. And this kind of goes back to like living a healthier life here. I could not get sober for the life of me when I was in LA, and I actually have been able to get sober and stay sober now that I've been in Austin. And if you're someone who is a content creator and you want to live somewhere where you can go take photos or collaborate with other people who are content creators, Austin's also a really good place for that without having to deal with all the fakeness of everyone in LA. Also, there are a lot of good churches here if you're someone that is interested in that, and you know, having a good community of people with the same faith as you. There's definitely no shortage of Christians in Texas, but also be aware. There's a lot of people that say they're Christian, but like they're really not living like it. And I know that I haven't been a perfect Christian at all, but I have really found a church that I like here, and I'm trying to stay very connected. And it was one of my goals to really strengthen my relationship with God this year, and I feel like I have done that. I've definitely made the most progress on myself here than I have anywhere else. So I think that I did make the right choice, and I really wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So I think that about wraps up all the pros that I had written down. Hopefully there's not more that I think of later, but I think that about sums it up. I'm a better person here. I love living here. I have a better quality of living here. I have a good job. I have my dream apartment. Oh yeah, also I wanted to show you guys this. So it says it was all a dream, and like having my own apartment for the first time in my life was a huge dream of mine, because I grew up in a house that I didn't feel very safe in, and moving to LA I didn't feel very safe there either. So finally I feel safe. I have peace. It may get lonely sometimes, but then I just remind myself I would rather be lonely and at peace than be in a house full of screaming people. And then when I lived in LA, I lived with roommates, and there was a really toxic situation that had went down. It was seriously affecting my quality of life every day and making me extremely depressed. So if anyone around you is making you feel that way, or anyone in your house is making you feel that way, please get out of there as soon as possible. Don't be afraid to go live on your own. I know it's scary, but it could be the best thing that ever happens to you. So with that being said, I'm gonna move on to the cons of living in Austin. So the first con would be the traffic. It is very similar to LA traffic now, because there's only two main highways to get to where you want to go. There's I-35 and there's MoPac, and they're always completely backed up during rush hour. But I have found a way to completely avoid them. But a lot of people, there is no way to avoid it. I'm just really lucky with my way that I go to work. I don't actually have to get on I-35. I'm like right next to it. Definitely keep that in mind when you are looking for a place. If you do want to live here, either pay more for a place that is right near your job so that you don't have a long commute, or if you are going to be farther out of the city for a cheaper price, you will have to consider that commute, and it could take you like double the time to get somewhere when there is traffic. Another con is that the homeless population has grown, which is due to the gentrification, and there are people literally being kicked out of their homes. So that's why I don't want to sit here and just tell everyone to move to Austin, but I will say if you really think you'll be happy here and you'll be a good member of the community and try to help out and whenever you can, then make your decision wisely. But I will say the homeless population still doesn't even compare to what it was like in LA. Another con, which I kind of talked about already, is it can be hard with the party scene if you are trying to get sober, but if I can do it, anyone can do it. You just gotta not go to certain places and you'll be okay. And the next con would be that it does get very hot, so if you just really don't want to deal with that, then maybe Texas isn't right for you. But I believe anyone can adapt to anything. See, I'm like, I shouldn't be trying to convince you guys to move here because I know that it's really bad with all the gentrification. But I do want everyone to be able to live somewhere where they actually are happy, you know? But if you do move here, see what you can do to help out in the community and, you know, provide some sort of value instead of coming here, sucking the city dry, then leaving like everyone does to LA. Another con is the inflation of rents. It is ranked top 5 in the fastest growing rent prices in the last year. Yes, I'm reading notes, okay, shh. It's getting really close to New York prices if you want to be right in the city, but there still are a lot of apartment complexes that are a decent price. They're just a little farther out. For me, I'm like a 12 to 15 minute drive from downtown and I'm paying close to $2K a month. It was only supposed to be $17.59, but every month after the utilities and all this other crap that I get charged, I'm paying like $2K. So keep that in mind. If my credit was good enough, I would be leaving and going somewhere farther out of the city for a lot cheaper of a price. But I will say if you compare it to LA prices or San Francisco, then it is still a better price to be as close to the city as I am. The average rent to live downtown is $3K. In San Francisco, it's $5K. So just to give you a little comparison, it's not as bad as other places, but there's a lot of job opportunities. So if you're making money, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And if you are interested in real estate and working in that field, it is very competitive, but there is a lot of room to really succeed in real estate here, which is a plus. Also, if you have allergies, you really might want to consider moving here because there's something about the cedar that comes off the trees, especially now, January to February, that really affects a lot of people. I'm blessed to not really have allergies like that, so just keep that in mind. And also, if you are someone who wants to buy a house, there is a higher property tax for homeowners, which could be a con. But since there is no state income tax, it kind of balances out, maybe, I don't know. There also is a really competitive market and just in renting apartments. It's really hard to even get one right now, and if you do find one, they're probably going to try to charge you a lot. Don't feel pressured into anything. Be smart, do your research, and just really decide what's the best place in the best area for your budget and go from there. But you do have to act very quickly before somebody else snatches up the apartment that you wanted. So with all of that being said, those are the pros and cons that I found living in Austin compared to other places I've lived like LA, and I would say the pros definitely outweigh the cons. I just personally really like being here, but everyone is different. Come check it out yourself first before thinking about moving here and see how you like it. So hopefully this helps you guys weigh out the pros and cons and come to a decision for yourselves. If you have any questions, just comment and ask me or send me a DM on Instagram. But I'm gonna end this video saying that I love living in Austin and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and click the bell so you know the next time that I upload, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.